Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the latest edition of the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar Podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Elyachar, chief content producer and writer of jakestake.com, a pop culture entertainment news website. If you're listening to this on our audio platforms, please give us a 5-star rating. However, if you're watching us on our YouTube, please give us a thumbs up and please subscribe. It is Challenge 40, the Battle of the Arrows, the ultimate battle, and I'm very thrilled to welcome one of my all-time favorite members of Era 4 as my guest. She is an online transformation coach. You have seen her on the Challenge War of the Worlds too. She also won Total Madness as the female champion, and also she's currently representing Era 4 on Battle of the Eras. And as of this recording, she has over 267,000 Instagram followers. So please help me welcome Jenny West to the podcast.
Woo! Thank you very much for having me. I'm honoured. What an introduction.
You're so welcome. And Jenny, it's an honor to have you here. I got to say this, of all the UK people that have been on this show, you and a mutual friend of ours, Joss Mooney, are my top two.
Yeah, amazing. Good choice.
Absolutely. So I got to say this, I am thrilled that you're back. We've missed you so much on behalf of Challenge fandom. We've missed you so much. So I'm so glad that you got out of the era. So we'll get back to the Challenge.
Yeah, I'm 40. What a season to come back into, and it's been a quite a large little bit of time away, really. 4 years. Yeah, I didn't know I'd be back. To be honest, I never knew I would be.
I gotta say this: we missed you very much, and I gotta say, a lot of people are saying, "Where's Jenny? Where's Jenny?" I was one of the people that said that. So, since we haven't seen you since your win, did you pay attention to the show or know who we probably going to be running into if you did get the call back?
Do you know what? No, not really. It's only because I'm so busy with work and just living my life. I try not to live my life through social media. I think it's so easy to get caught up in like a fake life. And my life is so rich and so fulfilled outside of all of that I kind of just get submerged in it and everything. It's not that I don't want to see that stuff. I think with the time difference and, constantly new cast members and a lot of ones I've never met before, I don't understand the dynamics. I don't understand any kind of like kind of rivalry between any that it kind of all goes over my head a little bit. So I kind of just, unless my friends are on it, I might, see a little bit of it. But other than that, no, don't really see any of it.
I totally understand. But before let's put a pin in the challenge talk and talk about your origin story. So when did you get interested in fitness, and how did that passion evolve and desire to pursue a career in the fitness industry?
Yeah, so do you know what? My parents are both music teachers, which is completely different. So I was always pushed down the music route, but even when I was younger, I absolutely loved just anything physical, anything. I was so competitive, like I don't know where it came from. I've got a twin sister, she's the same. Like we can't stand like losing. If it's fair that I should lose, fair, I can live with it just about. But yeah, I've always had like a flair for like anything physical. And I think it was when I was around 24, 25 when I first went to the gym. So quite late, really, especially by these standards. I feel like now it's quite popular or fashionable to go to the gym. And as soon as I kind of went to the gym and started lifting weights, I just found that I was like, this is where I should be. Like I just loved it, and it just all made sense to me. And I just found that I had kind of a natural ability for kind of lifting weights, and I understood it all. It all just made sense, like the biomechanics of the body and the movement, and it all just clicked. So it was kind of after that decided, I'm going to do this for my job.
And you're incredible. I see your Instagram and see a lot of your client success. You are amazing. I have definitely got to say, you and Joss and Jay and Paulie and Derek K were all and Mark and Brad were all inspirations for my fitness journey.
Oh, wow, that's incredible.
The thing is, I've been doing CrossFit off and on for almost 12 years.
Wow. So you've been kind of working out as long as I have then. It's about 12 years for me. Yeah, CrossFit's a great workout as well. I've never actually done it, but it's a good workout.
Yeah, it is. I was just over at Kansas Athletic Club a couple of hours before we filmed this interview, before we filmed our conversation.
I just finished a glute workout. So you and I both literally got home, jumped in the shower, cleaned myself, put my makeup on, sat down.
Absolutely, absolutely. It was a tough one today. It was a tough one today because the thing is, I'm not as really good with cleans and everything. So I basically worked on front squats.
Oh, nice. But it's good though. It's good. You'll get better. Just have to give it time.
Absolutely, slowly but surely, I will. Slowly but surely.
Exactly.
So speaking of fitness and everything, you started your reality career on the UK show Survival of the Fitness. Can you describe
Yeah,
that
I
show to
did.
my audience?
Oh, just picture kind of like a fitness version of Love Island. I wasn't sold that. I was sold a girls versus boys like competition show, and I thought, great, let's get stuck in. And then when I got there, I kind of realized that they were kind of like wanting people to date, and everyone was like 10 years younger than me, and I just did not vibe with anybody at all. And I was just there for the physical element. Just very much like I am with the challenge, really. I'm all about the competition. I can't help it. Even if I didn't want to be, it's like ingrained in me. So yeah, it was like 3 weeks, 4 weeks in South Africa. Girls versus boys competitions, pretty much. Oh, it's daily competitions. Much easier competitions than the challenge, by the way. Much easier. And then the girls won. So
Oh,
yeah,
that's
we're
pretty
good.
cool.
Thank
Congratulations.
God
So,
for that. I could sleep
so
at
you're a
night.
two-time champ. You are a rare commodity, Jenny. You won 2 shows.
Yeah. That's right. A first one, and then the second time on the challenge. Yeah, third time
Awesome.
filming, second
So
time the challenge.
absolutely. So now we're on the subject of the challenge. So how did you hear about the challenge in the first place?
Do you know what I being in the UK, I'd never heard of it before. Honestly, I'm like a hermit. I don't really watch TV. I'm always like just getting on with my work and I say my real life, but my actual real life. And then interesting fact, they actually wanted to interview Lucy, my twin sister, and I for the show. God, it was like way back in, I can't even remember, maybe like March time of year. So about 2 months before filming started. But she didn't want to do it. So she didn't even want to do the interview. So they didn't want to interview me. And then about 10 days before the show, they literally rang me and said, can you do it? And I didn't even, by this, I not even researched it, I'll be honest. I was like, I had clients at the time and, guinea pigs and like, a lot like responsibilities. And I was there on YouTube trying to watch clips of it. And I was then trying to sort out the clients and trying to get everything, trying to get a wardrobe ready. And I had no idea what I was getting into. A lot of the clips I've seen online, like, were just like people arguing and like throwing drinks in people's faces. Like, I was like really confused. I was like, what is this I'm getting myself into? And then, yeah, it was like a reality check literally from day one. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I just want to let you know, a lot of people know I'm newer to I came in with Era 4. I was actually
Okay.
Paulie and Davon were brought me into the challenge. So
Yes.
because they were on the same season of Big Brother. So I was very interested when they crossed over.
So you watched a lot of Big Brother then, so you've kind of come over kind of looking out for people that have been on there, and yeah.
Yeah, and Davon and Polly were the two from Big Brother that really stood out to me the most.
Yeah. Big characters.
Absolutely. And speaking of big
Yeah.
characters, your season, War of the Worlds 2, was full of them.
I know. That was literally my first season, yeah. I just remember turning up and the security for that season, when I say they literally lived in the house, they lived in the house. They couldn't leave. Like, fights would break out all the time. I just remember sitting there just watching people like pop off at each other for like the most stupidest thing. And I would just sit there and think like, why can't you all just like be adults and just talk? Like, but I guess like it's reality TV, and a lot of them had beef that I didn't understand from like previous seasons or whatever. And yeah, I think you kind of, when you're in there, you kind of like, you do lose your head quite a bit, and you do get sucked into it, and you kind of forget that it's not actually real life. It feels very much like real life at the time. It can be quite mentally very draining.
And speaking of draining, you actually had to, unfortunately, go down to the elimination one twice. Once one,
Yes.
and the other one you lost to Georgia. So what did it mean to you? What is it like when you say, I'm sorry, Jenny, you're going in?
Oh, it honestly, like when I'm on the challenge, I cannot stop losing weight. I have to work really hard to keep my body weight where it is, because the anxiety every single day, just honestly, like I just lose weight like no one's business. And that first season, I remember it was anxiety every single day, let alone if you find out your name's in the mix for an elimination. And now I'm not scared of eliminations, but there it was extremely like unknown. It was my first season, and all I'd see is like people like crying, and it was always like very aggressive and overwhelming scenarios. And so I naturally became quite adverse to wanting to like go down elimination. Like, you know, you just didn't want to do it. And you knew it was a chance to go home. But now I'd never be scared of elimination now. Now I just think what's going to be will be, try my best. If it doesn't work out and I go home, then, you know, at least I can, you know, go to the bathroom when I want and I have to ask permission and eat whatever food I want.
Absolutely. It feels like, however, we got to jump into Total Madness, because I got to say this, from everything what I've read and what I've heard, it was that bunker was a nightmare, I heard.
Yeah. Do you know what? I've got a love-hate relationship with that bunker, because
really,
I think, yes. Now, just bear with me on this one. Yes, it was dirty. Yes, the air was so filthy that when we had these like dehumidifier things in the house, they literally collected so much dirt in the fans that like it was mad, and it was very big. It took 5 minutes just to go to the toilet in the middle of the night. But I think it was just more like, because the weather was rubbish outside, because it was cold, that kind of reminded me back home in the UK. But then also, there was something about it that made you just want to be cozy. So I just walked around with jogging bottoms and hoodies on and a cup of tea all the time. And that kind of like just felt cozy. Do you know what I mean? It was like you were battening down the hatches and just like settling in for the night every single day. There was no sunbathing. There was no like, you know, sitting outside and just, it was, yeah, a bit weird. Everybody else hated it, by the way. I'm a bit controversial in my opinion.
Awesome. And like there are so many intense moments in that bunker. You had Bear versus Ashley. You had Jordan approach West with a sausage. That must have been insane seeing those confrontations.
Yeah, and you know what? I feel like my first season on War of the Worlds 2 prepared me for Total Madness, because nothing will ever compete with that. Like nothing will ever compete with the daily arguments and fights. Like, I remember coming into Total Madness and thinking like, oh well, this is like, it felt calmer. It felt so much calmer. But in reality, to normal life, it wouldn't have been. But in comparison to the season previous, it was like everyone taking Xanax or something. Everyone it felt so much more chilled, even though there was arguments and even though there was falling out. It just wasn't matched to my previous season. So it did prepare me for it, and my first season in general prepared me for my second season. I had more expectation now, kind of what it was going to be like.
And actually, you made it down. You were one of the last people standing, and when you went on that madness and won the final. So when you heard that final alarm and thinking that it's time for the final, what went through your mind?
Just honestly, just sheer excitement, because you feel like the days just blur and roll into the next one. You feel like you're there for so long, and it feels like it's never going to end. And you know that once you get to the final, it's not long until it's all finished. So regardless of the outcome, you almost don't care then. You kind of like, well, you know, in like maybe a few days' time, I'll be on a plane on the way home and I can go back to my life where I'm not going to wake up with anxiety every single day. It's kind of like, it's a weird feeling, but I was definitely excited because obviously I'd heard so much about the final and everyone talks about it so much every single day. And it's like this like coveted thing that you've never experienced before. So to actually then find out you're going, it is a really exciting feeling. Yeah. I don't know if I'm more excited to do the final to go home.
Absolutely. So you make it to the final. It's a very, very cold night, and you were luckily were one of the people inside that cabin before everything.
Yes,
before. So what was it being in a halfway point, making the halfway point of that final?
Yes, at the end of day one. I mean, I was sitting at a good spot because I'd come first out of the females at the end of day one. So I knew I'd get some kind of like advantage for day two. I didn't know how good it would be or not, but I just kept thinking to myself, even without advantage, if I just keep the pace that I've done on the first day and just keep working as hard as I do, then even without an advantage, I should still be able to make it to the finish line first. But I mean, I'd heard horror stories about the final and you know, how long they are, and the sleep deprivation, the food restriction, and like the crazy stuff they get you to do. So I was always like ready for the unexpected as much as you can be.
Absolutely. So what went through your mind when TJ blew his air horn and you were the first woman to make it to the cross the finish line?
Oh God, it was honestly, even now, I'd envisioned it so much throughout the top man of season. Like I kept envisioning myself winning so that I could like get myself into that headspace of like a winner's mindset. And I kept envisioning it. And then when it came to reality, it's like I couldn't really comprehend that was happening. It was almost like it wasn't real. I think I actually said to TJ, fuck off. That's literally what I said. I was like, I couldn't believe that was the end. That was my answer. He said I'd won. I went, fuck off. And I just kept saying, fuck off. Sorry, I'm swearing on your podcast, but yeah, that's all I could say. It never really clicked. It didn't click until the money landed in my bank account months later. And that is the point where I actually realized, oh yeah, I won.
That must have been. I'm like, if I ever said F off to TJ, and I'm sorry, I would get the world of hurt. I would be in a world of hurt.
He looked away. I went, yeah. He looked away. He just looked away. I think but yeah, he's a cool guy. So yeah, I think I don't know. You could never pay yourself something like that. Like, you know, I put so much work into it. You know, after coming out of my first season and going into the unknown, not knowing what it was going to be like, and then when I got asked to go back, I thought I know I can win this. Like I know I can, and I literally like practiced maths every single day, memory games. You know, I did like general knowledge stuff. Like I did everything. Like I worked so hard on the mental side of it. So it was a lot of work compiled over months. And to get into that moment, it's really strange to realize that if you do put a plan in place and you do consistently put effort into it, it can pay off. So I think I was also in a bit of shock about that as well.
I gotta say, yeah, we were all shocked about that. And speaking of, so you haven't been, like you said, total. Last time we saw you was Total Menace, but you're back from Battle Years for Challenge 40. So what did it mean to you to say from the challenge god to say, Jenny, we want you back for our 40th anniversary season?
Do you know, I'm going to be honest, it's a great opportunity, right? Don't knock me. It's a privilege to be asked. But the initial reaction was anxiety straight away. And I don't know if anybody else has that, but I think I feel like there's two people that go on the show: people that want to be on TV, and people that that's going to be their life career or a massive part of it, and then people who just are a normal person, never had plans to do that, never dreamt to do that. It's never been an ambition of mine at all, and just found themselves on it, probably just down to my athletic ability. So, and then obviously the whole thing is relatively traumatic at times. So it just is. Anybody who says it isn't, I've got a strong mindset, but live in a house with 30 odd strangers, 24/7, mic'd up, filmed, arguments, petty stuff, and then competition. And when you're naturally competitive, well, it's a lot. So I kind of like, even though I've not been back for 4 years, I wasn't mad about it. I love my life. I really love my life. I've got a lot going on in my own life. I've got a lot of plans for myself. So like, it wasn't the end of the world to me that, that I wasn't going back. But I always have this thing, like my biggest fear is like regretting a decision that I make. And I'm not getting any younger. So I kind of thought to myself, well, if they're asking me for season 4, it's a big season, most likely they'll change their mind anyway, like they had previously. Because I've flown out to location twice, South Africa and Iceland, and then been sent home. Wow. I was alternated for 2 seasons, yeah. So I kind of didn't really even think they were going to go ahead with me. I'll be honest, not 90% certain they weren't going to. I kept saying to my boyfriend, I'm probably not even going to be doing it, because he was making travel plans in case I am going to be gone for X amount of time. And I was like, I probably won't be there for long, or I probably won't even end up being cast. They'll probably end up flying me back home. So yeah, so to actually next window I'm being measured for a helmet, having a mic put on me, and then I'm being shoved in a house, and then that was it. So I was like, all right, shit, I'm here. It's happening. Fuck.
I gotta say this. I'm sad that we missed you on several big seasons, because you would have brought a lot of athleticism to the show over some of the cast members who made it, not to name any names. But I got to say this, we missed you. And I got to say this, it must have been very interesting to walk into like I was watching when they first watched when 40 came out. The first one was the pre-show, with basically at that huge dinner where everybody was gathering. What was it like saying, okay, I might know one person or a couple, like at least 20% of the room. So what was it like meeting some of these people for the very first time?
Do you know what? It was really, really late at night. It was about midnight at that point. And I was looking forward to kind of like meeting some new people on the show that I've seen through friends and stuff. But ultimately, I had a handful of people there that I knew already. My plan was to kind of like make sure that I get to know my era at the very least, because there's faces on my era I didn't know. And if I'm going to whip these people, we're going to win. I need to make sure I kind of like get a feel for them. So yeah, it was not overwhelming, because I'm not good in such situations. I'm confident, and I don't mind speaking to people that I don't know. But I do have ADHD, so my attention span, or my ability to stay social for long periods of time and I really recognise that. I always wondered why so many people can like just be so social with everybody and just dead present in the moment till everybody goes to bed. And I have like an hour window, and then I'm kind of like, I'm done. Like I can't physically be present anymore. And I realized that's a massive ADHD trait. So like, I think after about an hour of being there, I was ready for bed.
I totally understand. It's very overwhelming for like, if you're like in a room with people that you don't know, like you don't know like all the stuff. And so what was your reactions where like say, okay, oh, there's CT and oh, Paulie, and there's Josh and Cara Maria, and I'm Jonathan Potassium, my nickname for you know who, and Casey. And what was your reaction seeing some people that you knew?
Yeah. I have no issues with any cast members I've been on previous seasons with. So it was, there's certain people that I got on with better, and some people that I kind of just like, we have a friendship, but there's not much, else. Everyone's got different alliances, different connections, and stronger ones. And it was nice to see familiar faces for sure, particularly like Tori and Rachel, because I'd flown out to Miami last year in November and met up with them both. So I already knew them, and I've done a season with Tori, 2 seasons with Tori before. So those familiar faces are nice. There was a few of them, like Theo, Johnny. I'm not so much Paulie, because in my last season in Royal of the Worlds 2, he was not on my side, and in fact he threw me in against Tori. So not so much him. But it was nice to see familiar faces, people that you knew. It didn't matter to me in a way, because I am confident and on my own 2 feet and just throwing myself in the mix a little bit. But it is nice to see. Yeah.
All righty. So you got that opening. So what was that? When you saw the opening challenge, now we get to the moat and all the fun about getting the lights in that puzzle. So what was the challenge trying to cross that moat?
Like, you try and row a boat that's round. Right, you just, as soon as you go like that, it just spins that way, then you go like that, and then it spins that way. So you really have to do like little strokes. But again, I think that we started that at like 1 a.m. in the morning. We've been up all day, and everything was like pushed back for filming. So it was literally the middle of the night. I was frustrated that I rowed in the wrong direction, because I was so focused on like just rowing the boat forward. I didn't realize that the little lights I could see weren't the kind of like part where we need to go back. I just thought because there was lights, I just thought that was it. I was like, oh yeah, that's where we need to go. So I just started rowing and rowing and rowing. Then I was like, am I gonna hear anybody? Like, it was getting quieter and quieter. And then I just like looked up for a moment and saw that the lights were that way. I was like, fuck. So by the time I kind of got to the shore with my batons, I was behind Michelle, and I managed to overtake her after getting the puzzle right. So I was frustrated with myself, because I should have, if I'd just rowed in the right direction, I would have come first. But yeah, it's frustrating. And again, I thought to myself, this is inexperience in my part. When you've been around the block a few times, you know to double check things. You remember that, and I was a bit rusty on things like that. So I kind of gave myself a little bit of a prep talk and was like, listen, you can't make stupid mistakes like that. That's different between winning and losing, and it counts for a lot.
I gotta say this: Era 2 and Era 4 had the biggest and explosive deliberations, I heard.
Yeah.
So what was it like for Paulie and Theo reigniting that feud?
Yeah, I mean, I had a front row seat. So it's always entertaining with things like that, to be honest. Unless it's like your friends and then they're upset, then that's not nice to watch. But yeah, it got a little bit heated at times. Yeah, it got quite spicy. And I just not want to be involved in any of the drama ever. I think that's another reason why I wouldn't have been asked back. People sometimes say that I'm boring, and that is absolutely fine by me. I'm just not one to be involved. I don't think drama tends to follow me. Well, I don't create the drama. It will just generally find me if there is any drama. But yeah, it's the deliberation was interesting. Yeah, to say the least.
It was not just Polly, but also you had Olivia and Nerys as well, because you must have heard a lot of going on from 38 and 39 and what happened.
Yeah, I started because obviously Nerys and Olivia I've never met before. And I think literally from when we arrived, Nerys was filling me in on her relationship with Olivia and kind of what had gone on previous season. So yeah, I think it was a good choice that them two got to go head to head. I think it was nice then to kind of like put an end to that chapter as such. So yeah, there's so much I'd missed out on. Like I literally got there and I was like, oh right, so I didn't know who anybody, what like a lot of people were, but I didn't understand like relationships, connections. That definitely puts you at a huge disadvantage when you're coming into a game. You know, I don't know who's owes who a favor. I don't know who's like screwed someone over. So, you know, if I ever found myself in a position to make a decision, that information would be extremely helpful. There's a lot of things I just didn't find out till like later in the season, and I was like, oh right, had no idea.
Also, we got to talk about the elimination herd around the world, and both of them were well, I got to say, Hall Brawls were, it looks, one that was hard for me. I know for me, Polly is a friend of mine, so I felt so angry at Theo when Polly revealed he got 2 concussions. I was about ready to go on social media and go ballistic, but I don't think that would have been very well.
Yeah. You know what? Honestly, hats off to Paulie. He literally gave it everything, and it was a really shot. I know that he lost, but it was a strong performance from him. You know, he gave it everything. He had so much heart with it, and you can't buy heart. You've either got it or you haven't. But Theo is 6'7", you know, and weight moves weight, so they say. You know, it is easy to do Hall Brawl if you're bigger and taller. It just is. Like that's why I put weight on for the show. Like I didn't know if I was going to be on it or not. I didn't know if they're going to change their mind, but I consciously put weight on prior to going away so I could sit at a weight that was a little bit heavier than my natural weight. And then had to just work very hard at maintaining it when I was there. But just in case, you know, you get to make a Hall Brawl, you don't want to find yourself too light for it and that people could just flick you over.
Absolutely. So as the season progressed, what, and like, I don't want to say any spoilers, so no spoilers, everybody, but however, what were you thinking about saying, okay, when you saw all these dramas from all these different things come and clash, like old past, and like, were you relieved that you didn't have any background were you relieved that you were not at the center of any of those dramas?
Was I set in anything? Is that
No. Were you relieved that you were not part of those dramas?
Oh yeah. Oh, the drama is like such a big part of the show. Let's face it. A lot of people just care about that. They're not even bothered about necessarily the competition, but the drama goes alongside it. And it is extremely entertaining. It just is. Like I don't have that in my normal life. You know, I'm 37. I just want a nice, easy life, and so it is weird being surrounded by adults. And there's just arguments all the time, and you know, people throwing drinks at each other, and people standing up on tables and shouting, and like it's entertaining. It can be entertaining. Sometimes it can be upsetting to watch, depending on the context of the argument, and certain words being said can be, you know, it's not nice to see somebody be upset. I totally don't condone that kind of situation, but a lot of it's tit for tat and just like people just going at each other and giving it back as hard as they get it. Yeah, I think there's a clip from me my first season when Paulie and Theo were arguing. Do you remember when they kissed?
The kiss! That was so insane. I never thought I would see that. Yeah. That was the most insane thing.
I remember I think that was in the first week. And I remember sitting there on a sunbed. It was like, I don't know, 11 p.m. at night, eating popcorn. And the argument just moved in front of me. And I was sat there just eating popcorn and thinking like, what the fuck is going on right now in my life? Like I'm just sat here in a sunbed at 11 p.m. at night eating popcorn, watching two guys like argue and then stop making that. It fucking weird. I was like, what is this show?
I totally agree. That was probably one of the biggest shocking fights of era 4 was those two going at it and that insane kiss.
It was like they were egging each other on. Like one wanted to go one step further, the other, and the other one wanted the other one to back down. And it's like they were pushing each other to see who would, back down first. And then, as it is, they're just extremely both competitive. So no one backed down, and they made out.
And I gotta say this, I'm so happy that Theo and Polly finally buried the hatchet after all 5 years.
Yeah, that was really nice to see. Yeah, because they're both good guys. They're both good guys, and things happen, and decisions have to be made that aren't easy. So easier for some people than others. And then before you know it, you've got like an absolute massive hate for somebody, or you just can't be around them, or you can't seem to not argue with them. So it is nice. Everyone loves that, like a love story. Two people that hate each other, they're fighting against each other, they come together. It's nice.
Yeah, and like the same thing with Wes and Potassium. Jonathan Potassium.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because no one expected that in Total Madness. For them to be working together and helping each other. I didn't even know that. And it was a shock to everybody.
Absolutely. So we're going to leave the challenge world and go back into the fitness world. So I would love to talk to you about your company, Future Proof Fitness. So how does your programming stand out against the international fitness world?
So I'm an online coach. So my service is all done online. It's not like classes. It's programming like training and nutrition. But what I believe makes stand out is I got into this for the sheer fact that I care about people getting results, and I think it's because of my own experience years ago, not really knowing what I'm doing, under eating, overtraining, having a very unhealthy relationship with food. That when it kind of clicked for me, and I kind of got what I needed to do to be able to be in the shape that I wanted to be in, I thought to myself, God, this is so obvious and so simple. Everybody should be able to do this. And then I felt like I had a secret. I knew how to do it. And I wanted to be able to share that with as many females as possible, because I know what it feels like to feel really down in how you look or feel, and to lack confidence, and to feel like it doesn't matter what you do, you can't seem to do it. And it isn't it's not like a shoe. It doesn't fit everybody. But there's a general kind of like baseline kind of rules that work, and then you tweak it to each client. And sometimes majorly to make it fit them. That's the difference. You can't just give everybody the same program. Everyone's got different triggers. Everyone's got different barriers. Everyone's got different mindset over how they view food and exercise and the relationship with food. It's either healthy or it's not so healthy. And it's my job to kind of essentially get into my clients' lives, live in their pocket a little bit, kind of harass them in a kind of way, a nice way. And just learn about them like a subject of school. And as soon as I kind of pick up kind of what person they are and how they move and what their week looks like and what kind of things make them fall off and stop getting results, I've clicked it, I've like cracked the code, and then that's it. Then we just, wheels to the floor and off we go. Very rewarding.
I was about ready to ask, what is a success? What does it feel like when a client is able to share their success story and inspire others?
I sometimes when I'm talking to clients on the phone and they're sharing like a win with me, they've achieved something that they've never done before. It's not necessarily just a physical. It might just be they went out, enjoyed a couple of drinks with friends, had dessert, had a main course, came home and didn't binge. And normally they'd be like, well, I've eaten all that now, I may as well carry on. And even hearing little things like I can get goosebumps when I'm talking to them, or sometimes I'll cry with clients on the phone if they're like really emotional about something and how they never thought they'd feel like this or whatever. I'm a massive empath, so I really feel other people's feelings, and so I can't help but kind of react to that naturally. And I think that's why I've done this for 12 years. It's just it feels natural to help people. I'm definitely is that a nurturer? I don't know. Is that what a nurturer is? Apparently, according to Tori, my star sign is that my star sign Libra is empath. And probably ADHD people often are natural empaths. So I don't know, but yeah.
Well, I'm a Virgo, and I gotta say this: you definitely inspire a lot of people, and I think not just women but also men as well.
Yeah, cool. That's good. I always think if you get like a female that's, strong and athletic and capable, that's harder for females to kind of do because our bodies aren't built the same way as men's. Men have high levels of testosterone. They're naturally going to be faster and stronger. So when you get a female that's, dominant in those kind of areas, she obviously knows what she's doing. Do you know what I mean? She's been around the block a little bit with it. So it's nice when I've had male clients many times in the past with personal training. I've got male clients now on my coaching program. I've got incredible results with them. So I'm confident with working with males as well as females, and I just want to help. If someone wants my help, we'll work together. We'll do it.
Absolutely. Hear that, guys? That will be. I really hope that you get more clients from this interview as well. So anyway, you're so welcome. So let's get down. We got to start winding down a conversation. So you amassed a massive Instagram following. So what were some of the factors that you and your team used to enhance engagement with your audience?
I have no team. It is just me. God, I feel like I don't know if I'm like the best person to ask. A lot of my following has come from being on TV, which is super grateful for. But I had got to about 150, I think, before I went on TV. And it was just from posting fitness stuff. And I think it's just being authentically yourself as much as you can, which, don't get me wrong, it can be difficult when, you're scrolling your feed, and it's very natural as human beings to compare ourselves to everybody. You got to know yourself, kind of like who you are and what's authentic to you, and try to, don't try to sell to everybody, don't try to please everybody, just do your thing and the right people will follow you, I think.
All righty. Last question. Are you ready, Jenny?
Go on, hit me.
Where can my audience connect with you, and where can they learn more about your business? And also, why should they watch the challenge Battle of the Arrows?
Okay, I'll finish with that question because that's the best one. You can find me on Instagram, primarily Jennifer West Official. Spelt how you think it's spelt. All my coaching and stuff is on there. There's also a lot of like free information on there as well, like workouts, nutritional advice. I try to give as much value as I can, a little bit of real life thrown in there as well, and I do reply to my DMs myself. I don't have anybody do that for me. So the best way to get in contact with me if you're interested in finding out more is literally send me a DM, and I'll just chat with you a little bit in there, maybe jump on a phone call. So I even do phone calls as well. And then why should people watch season 40? Most people who watch the challenge have came in at a different era. This season has got every single era in it. It's you're being spoilt, really. You are being spoilt. It's something for everybody, and the dynamics and the competition is like nothing I've ever experienced since being on that show. And it does truly give me goosebumps thinking about what the hell I went through during that, and what everybody went through and how crazy it actually is. So it's definitely one to tune into. You'll get a FOMO if you don't.
Absolutely, guys. Absolutely. And guys, have you missed an episode of the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar podcast? Visit our channels on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Podchaser, Spotify, and Spreaker. Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar, JACOBELYACHAR. Now, are you on social media? Because I'm on social media too. Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. All Jacob Elyachar, JACOBELYACHAR. And guys, want to find out more of my interviews with the challenge, including Derek K, Paulie, Joss, head to jake-shake.com. Once again, jake-shake.com. Jenny, thank you so much for taking time in your schedule to talk with me today. I really appreciate it. And I am rooting for you. You're one of my people I selected to be part of. I'm rooting of the cast members that were announced. I'm rooting for. So I really, really hope that you do well this season. And thank you so much for stopping by.
Yeah. Honestly, the pleasure's mine. I was really honored for you to ask me. It's been really nice to meet you, talk to you a few things, and yeah, it's definitely a good season. So I'm excited to carry on watching it. And thank you for your support.
You're so welcome. And guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, have a great one, everybody. Goodbye. Bye.